Yeah, and he is another kind of one-year wonder type of player, which is always questionable. It's always tough to evaluate, but I think he was an extremely disruptive player in Illinois, was a game changer, and if he would have gone to another school, I think he would have gotten more of the national publicity. Maybe, no, I'm not saying it would have been a higher pick, but more people would have kind of been able to latch on to him.
Do we have a BOE in the chat room when we get to the Chiefs after their
Oh,
picks?
I
We'll
don't.
move on to
He was around. Let me see if he's still. He might be on IRC Hunt around.
get them on
No, I don't.
Chiefs here after the Chiefs.
I mean, I'll text him real quick.
Get the insider's view. I actually, when I was doing my mock yesterday, I dialed him up just to get his thoughts and make sure I went with Danny Watkins. And
Let's see if.
as it turns out, Mayock did that too. Here, I thought that was going to be another small pick. And
Yeah, him,
too,
him and Vidai, I think, are two guys I'd be interested to see.
The
Yeah.
rumor is Phil Taylor. The talk is Phil Taylor.
Yeah, I'm texting BOE right now. Talk is Phil Taylor.
Yeah, and obviously they do need a nose tackle, so it makes a lot of sense. I think it would be a little bit of a reach, but the Chiefs are in a really tricky position there in that where their needs are, there really isn't value. There really isn't an pass rush and outside linebacker that's going to be there at 21. There isn't a receiver that's worth taking at 21. I mean, in terms of their needs and the best player, Phil Taylor's probably the closest fit.
Oh, in terms of need and value, it definitely could be the closest fit. You know, yeah.
I tell you what, talking to him, he was one of my favorite guys to talk to.
Yeah.
He talked about how he enjoyed that football field is one place where you actually get praised for being violent and for hitting people. It's a smart kid. I mean, a biochemistry major. He wants to do cancer research. He was a Rhodes Scholarship finalist. I mean, great work ethic. You can see to come from where he did, starting out when I think he was 260 pounds. He was starting as a true freshman in the ACC at 260 pounds, and I think he was what was he at the scouting combine? 311.
Yeah.
Just think of that, over 50 pounds he put on in the span of 4 years. That's not easy.
So.
And he talked about that. He said he really struggled to put that weight on and put good weight on and keep it on, and had to eat all the time, even when he wasn't hungry, and just great tangibles. There's no way he doesn't start for 10 years in the league. He's never going to be
Giants.
Orlando Pace, but
Here comes Giants pick. Prince Mukamara, there you go. Going with value. I think that the secondary is a strength for them, but him and Webster together, that's a pretty nasty combination. I mean, look at these top two corners. Patrick Peterson now paired with Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. Prince Mukamara now paired with Corey Webster. Dynamic duos all around.
And you know that's why the Giants are such a good organization too. And obviously they're in a good position. They can afford to do this because they have a good talent base. They don't have 5 just absolute glaring needs. So they can afford to take a Prince Mukamara who falls to them, even though it's not their most glaring need. And that's how they could take Jason Pierre-Paul last year. And they're getting very talented players, and they're planning for the future.
Well, the BOE is in the chat room, so he will be ready to go. Him and the day will be ready to go with some Chiefs analysis. But
get them on with the Chiefs around the clock so they can tell us who they want, and then we can get their reaction to the right away.
Sounds good. But Tampa Bay's up. Cameron Jordan's still on the board. Daquan Bauer's still on the board. If they want to address that defensive line, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, I think Cameron Jordan. I don't think they thought he'd be there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if this is the guy that they've brought in, but either way, I think watching the tape, what you can do with him as well, putting him at defensive end, I think you can really plug him in for Brian Price when you need to give him some rest. You know, Cameron Jordan, and Yoshi's asking if he's solely limited to left end. Not at all. I think Cameron Jordan can move around that line. You can use him in a Justin Tuck type of role. Could be an absolute steal this late in the draft.
And that's another one of the enticing things about Cameron Jordan. He could just as easily play 4-3 as he can 3-4. I mean, I think people underrate what an impressive physical specimen Cameron Jordan is. I mean, he was just a notch under 6'5", 287 pounds. He ran in the 4.7s at the scouting combine. he's an athletic kid. Like we talked about when we saw him in the senior bowl. He was beating guys with power. He was beating them with speed. He was beating them on the inside. He was beating them on the outside. Just everything. I said before, but I just don't know what there is not to like about Cameron Jordan.
Yeah, so him and Mukamara, not sure what the problem is there, though. You know, there were plenty of mocks that had Jordan falling to 18 to San Diego, so I guess 20 isn't too far off in terms of value.
Although I need to get back on pace with my mock draft here, so we could see Daquan Bowers.
Just get back on there. Always positive. As long as Phil Taylor 32, then we're good to go. They're already. We turned the whole chat room into a Chiefs chat room now, Scott. So they're all Phil Taylor and all this and that. So flying off the handle. Tampa Bay's just getting passed up. I don't know where Caddy went, but he's in Australia. I'm sure he's asleep by now. But
he's resting up for the royal wedding.
You gotta do it. Well, I think. This is why I need to live in the UK or Australia. They all have the day off tomorrow because of the royal wedding.
Oh yeah, you got to get a cake and do it up right.
Oh well, yeah, but you got the draft the same day. You could have gotten the day off instead. Have to call off work. So. There we go. Grant is still up. I think he's in the UK if I remember correctly. He's still going. It's probably like 6 a.m. there or something. I don't even know. I just made that up, but.
Sleep after the draft.
Yeah, 3 a.m. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't know. Let's get a little bit back on track here. So we got Tampa Bay. We've kind of talked about it. We think defensive line. Any other possibilities to see here, Scott, other than those two, Jordan, Daquan Bowers?
From talking to Charlie, the few reports, the dark horse or the plan B was Akeem Ayers.
Okay.
But I'd be really surprised if it wasn't a defensive end, especially with Cameron Jordan and Daquan Bowers both on the board.
Yeah, definitely. And we've been hearing this front seven talk, from Charlie and from the Bucs since before the Senior Bowl that this has been their focus the whole time. Yeah, I'm getting some. I said the Bucs probably should go with Cam Jordan. Getting a lot of tweets they should go Daquan Bowers from some Buccaneers fans. It's got to be very intriguing to see which player they end up going with. And I think this is also knocks down guys like Cam Hayward, maybe from going in the first round. And so you might have actually some decent defensive line depth.
Now, on my board, I had Daquan Bowers 10 overall and Cameron Jordan 12 overall.
Well,
so basically the same. And now this is where the medical reports come in. If there's any doubt in my mind about Daquan Bowers' knee, I take Cameron Jordan.
Right.
It's close enough. You take the guy who doesn't have the medical concerns.
Yep.
We kind of got quiet on the quarterbacks here all of a sudden too.
Yeah.
And for a minute there, it looked like we had about 6 of them up in the top 20.
Colin Kaepernick at 15. No. Yeah, and I think I don't know if we'll see another one go. I don't know if we'll see another one go in the first round. I think with Ponder going off the board, our team's going to be willing to trade up for Dalton, Kaepernick, or Mallett. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. I really don't think Seattle's going to take one. I'm not really feeling that.
I don't think anybody has that big of a conviction on Ryan Mallett. I think Ryan Mallett's fallen a lot further than people think. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be playing for him because I think Dalton's going to be gone. I had Dalton going to the Bengals in my mock draft, but if he's gone, I mean, Mallett's a Bengals type pick.
A couple quick funny things in the chat room. Pants for Paco says Steelers take Mallett to cure themselves of the troubled quarterback issues. And then let's see if you know this one. Scott Boz asking, do you know Prince Mukamara's the name of his 5 sisters?
Oh, jeez. I know it's they're all goofy names, but no, I don't know.
Princess, Precious, Promise, Peace, and Passionate.
All right.
There you go.
I can dig it. I've heard words.
I have. All right. I need to stop I need to stop having Twitter come up automatically as people keep tweeting me these choices. So it looks like Tampa Bay's pick, yeah, Claiborne showing up. That's who I had them taken. Oh, I believe I had I think I had Bowers at 20. We both had Bowers at 20. Claiborne falling a little bit more because there's some questions if he would even go in the first round. Is that correct?
Yeah, there was a lot of talk that he could fall. I didn't think he was going to. I have him going to Atlanta Falcons at 27. But I mean, it surprised me that, especially, it doesn't necessarily surprise me he goes ahead of Bowers, but once again, what's the matter with Cameron Jordan?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really baffled by this.
I mean, 4-3 teams are passed on him, 3-4 teams are passed on him.
Right, so you can't say it's system.
Yeah.
Can't say it's system. That's the problem. Now, maybe they feel he's a 3-4 D end exclusively, and the Chargers did have legit rated just over him. Now, with him falling to 21, the Chiefs are up. Cam Jordan to the Chiefs?
I wouldn't rule it out.
I know it's not the biggest need, but
Tyson Jackson's been disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you really are Scott Pioli and want to go with the best player, I know they have Dorsey, I know they have Tyson Jackson. It's not a need, but BPA.
Well, good for Adrian Claiborne.
Yeah.
He was a guy that, he was gonna. A lot of talk he was dropping. He did drop a little bit. I mean, from where he came into the year, it looked like he was gonna be a top 10 pick, but did have the great senior year, and then also all the talent at the defensive line position pushed him down a little bit, I think. But
and it's just that senior year woes we saw with Jake Locker. You come back when you had a great year. You come back to finish up your college career. Don't have that successful year, and people just analyze you a lot and why those failures happened. And a lot of times it isn't always your fault. It isn't always a lack of talent or a change in who you are. So this could be a really nice pick because I think if Claiborne were to come out last year, this is probably about where he would have went then. I don't think it's a wrong selection here by Tampa because it definitely addresses a need, and I think it's a nice dichotomy with the defensive tackles they drafted last year. So it's a first-round pick, second-round pick last year at D-line, and then their first-round pick this year at defensive line.
And you never want to see somebody get hurt by staying at school and graduating, and so I'm happy for Claiborne and Jake Locker too. I'm so happy for him. All the criticism he's taken, all the talk. Oh, he cost himself $50 million. I mean, like I said, I've stayed on the bandwagon. Everyone's bashed him, and maybe I'll be proven wrong in the long run. But I've always said I'll take a chance on Jake Locker.
Yeah. And I'll take the chance on Adrian Claiborne, too. I like the fit for the system a lot. I really can see him as a Buccaneer. I mean, I think that's a real nice fit for Adrian Claiborne.
Yeah, I think so, too. And I mean, as much as I like Cameron Jordan, he probably is a better fit as a 3-4 end. So if you want a true 4-3 end, Claiborne is probably a good option for them.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Chiefs. Let's get into this. Mention Cam Jordan. You mentioned Phil Taylor. Well, you did have Danny Watkins going at 21. Yeah, if Scott Pioli sees the same thing, I remember that Mankins pick that year. A lot of people were a little bit baffled by that at the time. I wasn't as into the draft at that point, so I didn't know if that was a reach or not. But a lot of people were a little bit baffled with that pick. I could see him going there again.
And I think Danny Watkins is as close to a sure thing as there is in this draft.
How close he's going to contribute for you, right?
Right. But it may never be a star. I don't know that he's going to be a perennial All-Pro, but you're gonna plug him in day one, and he's gonna be a solid starter for you for maybe not 10, 12 years, but I think you're gonna get a nice career out of him, and he is talented too. It's not that he doesn't have upside.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, he's 27 years old, but he does not have a lot of football experience. He's still a pup. He might be 27 years old in chronological age, but football age, he really is he's probably about 20.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, watching him at Senior Bowl and talking with him, I wouldn't have guessed he was that old if I didn't know. I mean, he's an offensive lineman, so physically he's a big kid, but I don't think he looked like he was hit close to 30. You know what I mean? Compared to some of these other offensive linemen, I didn't see much of a huge difference. So I don't know if that means anything, but I think